the most enabling thing you can do is play the villain in someone's story. And let me explain why. You can give someone $50, and if they're an addict or whatever, they're probably going to go use it on drugs or whatever, or waste it if they're not, and yes, that is enabling or whatever, but that's gone in 10 minutes. Okay. And then it's over. If you yell and scream and say a bunch of mean things and act like a crazy lunatic fool, they will use that against you for the next 20 years. They will use that as their rationalization. I mean, they'll be getting high on that for years and years. And it's like the emotional currency.
Welcome back to Simply 1%. Today we are joined by Amber Hollingsworth, a clinician who focuses on relationships and specializes in working with people and families impacted by addiction. She's also the creator of the YouTube channel Put the Shovel Down. Amber has spent years helping families and loved ones navigate some really difficult patterns. What we loved about this conversation is that it goes far beyond addiction. This is really a conversation about relationships. How do you care about somebody without caring what belongs to them? How do you help without enabling? How do you set a boundary without becoming the bad guy? And how do you speak truth to someone who may not be ready to hear it? Amber gives such clear and practical ways to think about the way we influence others. The heart of this episode is this: before someone can hear you, you have to see them. So settle in. We think this conversation with Amber is going to give you a lot to think about and maybe one small shift to practice this week. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to Simply 1%. We have a brand new episode for you today. We have our lovely guest with us, Amber Hollingsworth, and we're just really so amazed that you're here, first of all. Grateful and humbled. I could cry right now. Just the fact that of all the work that you've done and how it shows and how it comes through, watching your videos, seeing your interviews, and just it is the way that we like to think about life too, and how we're all just humans here trying to figure it out step by step. And we really want to live in community, make it as simple as possible. So what really drew us to you is how you approach your work. And it sounds like it's the same as us. Mm-hmm. So before we get into the meat of today, we would just like to hear from you and like who you are, why you're here, what brought you here. So thank you for coming and joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I am an addiction counselor by training. I've been working with people who have addictions for more than 20 years. And these days I'm sort of half that and then half like content creator. I would probably consider myself a YouTuber more than anything these days. And the content I create is mainly geared towards people that have addicted people in their life. Like, how do I get rid of someone's addiction? Because all of that is about, it's relational. It's about, how do I support someone without enabling? How do I set boundaries without being a jerk? All of those things. And a lot of what I teach on there not only just applies to how to deal with an addicted loved one, but just how to have better relationships, right? How to have a better relationship with my kids, with my coworkers, because having good boundaries and good communication skills crosses over into all relationship categories. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
One thing I heard you say, and I loved it. I actually rewound it and listened to it again because I thought it was so great. You were talking about relationship. You were talking about when you were with those teens back in the early days of your career. Mm-hmm. And you said it was about relationship, right? And I looked at Meredith, I was like, I love that because, and Meredith was like, yeah, she's saying it's not about method, it's about relationship. Mm-hmm. And if there is anybody who's going to fish you out and be like, I'm not believing her, it's teens, right? They're going to be like, listen, this chick, I'm out, right? Like,
yeah. For sure. They're looking to disqualify you.
Oh,
I mean, I say people with addictions are trying to find any reason to disqualify you. Sometimes listen to you, any reason. And teenagers, you can just like double, triple that. Just because you're adult, they just want, that's enough right there.
Yeah. And I loved that approach that you took with them, and that molded you into who you are in the relationships that you build now through what you do. And I was just like, if there wasn't, I mean, that was baptism by fire, what you did with the teens. Like, I'm like, if you're walking through that, I feel like you could deal with addicts. Like,
I feel like ever since then, everything else I've done has been easy. That was hard. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, we align with her. She is talking about relationship within guidance. Teens are not going to follow your guidance or listen to your words if they don't trust you or have that foundation with you. Yeah. And I feel like addicts are that way too, right? They're like, you got to prove yourself to me.
Oh, they can, you have to be able to call them out. Yeah. And they have to respect you.
You can't be a total pushover, right? Because, who likes that? You can't be desperate or needy or, clingy or try too hard to be teenagery, or cool or whatever, because that's not going to work, right? Like, it's, if you're going to have influence over someone, whether it's a teen or, your husband or your, whatever, I call it building credit with the person is what I call it. Like building your credit score, or like if you want to buy a house, I say you need to at least be in the 700 range or don't even apply.
Oh yeah.
Don't have an opinion until you're in the 700 range. You don't have an opinion.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yes.
It's kind of funny because in some of our courses, I actually like have a scale, like add this many points if you hear this or say this, and like, so if you're like credit score. But it's about, people aren't going to listen to you unless they think you really get them and understand them. So the way you build credit is helping a person, helping see who that person really is, right? Like thoroughly. Like, your best friend listens to you because your best friend's like, oh, she knows everything about me. She knows my whole history. She knows all my relationships I'm in now. She's got the backstories. And so they listen to you because you got credibility with them, because you know all the things, right? And so before you can try to influence someone to make any kind of change or just positive decision, or, maybe somebody just needs to be brave and jump out there into the world and make some kind of decision to go after something. People have to feel like that you care about them. I want to say that, but it's really that you understand their situation thoroughly. Because like I say, like, you can know your grandmama loves you, but you're not going to listen to her advice unless you think she gets you, like she gets your whole situation, right?
Absolutely. I say that to people all the time too, about, they're like, oh, I really wonder what this person thinks of me, right? We do this all the time. And like, we're judging people all the time. We're supposed to. Right. I hope that we do. We need to keep ourselves alive,
Right.
But I always say to clients, well, do you respect that person? Is that someone that you really love and respect and you honor? Like, not really. I don't know them. Like, okay, then we don't listen to people like then, like, I don't know how you feel about that, but like, there's a measure sometimes. And I guess I'm that way. I don't have a problem with authority. I have a problem with authority that I cannot figure out how to respect. And there's and that's just kind of my idea entirely. Like, I am not the expert on anybody's life. I'm a guide. We'll join together. You are the expert on your life. I will tease those things out of you. I'll bring it out of the envelope. I will show you. I'll hold up a mirror, right? But in no way am I going to give you direct advice or ever just tell you this is what you need to do. What do you think about that?
I think, well, a lot of times in the coaching that I do tell people exactly what to do and say, because when people are in crisis, they're like, crisis. Please tell me, right? They don't want to, how does that make you feel? And what happened to you when you were 3? They're like, Amber, freaking, what do I do? Because I'm living in chaos every day. And so, but I don't agree with that until I understand their situation, right? Like, I understand, like relational dynamics and addiction in general, but I have to understand the particulars of the personalities involved and what the history, and then once I have all that, I can tell you, once there's enough relationship that you'll even listen to me, like, then I might say, okay, here's what I want you to say. I want you to say these words exactly like this here, in this tone. And I want you to pick this kind of moment to do it. And I want it to
Oh, you
last
do that.
exactly 3 seconds.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, exactly 3 seconds. Time
Yeah.
yourself. Practice
That's
it in the
it.
mirror.
And then
And
out.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do that. You do
I
that.
do
You're
that.
very good at coaching in that way.
Yeah, I do think that it gives people confidence because a lot of people need permission
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because they weren't raised to believe that they have value. And so when you actually can say, no, thank you. You actually can be appropriate instead of being kind.
Yeah.
That you're allowed to do that. And so a lot of people aren't given permission because they were never shown their value to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we're able to do is say, no, you can actually be very firm about this. And these are the words you can say 100%. And that's one of the things that I teach when I'm coaching, especially parents and with my kids. I don't teach my children to be kind. I teach them to be appropriate. And so because we don't live in a perfect world. And so I teach my children and people I coach from the moment you say hello, you are teaching someone how to treat you.
Oh, yeah.
And if we're just kind and we just allow anything, then we're teaching them, you can treat me however, I'll just be around to deal with it. So if you're appropriate and you say, I didn't like that, I'm actually not okay with that.
Right.
It teaches them very quickly from the moment you say hello, when those situations arise, they go, oh, okay, I'm not allowed to do that. They actually
it sets
know
a
their
boundary.
value.
You're not saying this is my boundary, but you're saying you can't talk to me like that.
Right.
Yeah, you
And
cannot.
if you say it early on, you'll never have to say it again.
This is the question that always comes up. So let's hear your take on this, Amber.
Sure.
When it comes to relationship and one of the partners is doing the growing, right? Goes to therapy, has some sort of change in life, it's leading them in a direction of, I really like who I am, I'm bringing out these parts. And the other person is staying where they are. Doesn't necessarily mean bad person, good person, right? It just means like they're staying and they're good with that. And the other person is growing. And it comes to these questions of, I taught this person how to treat me. In the beginning, I took care of this person all the time, right? I took care of my spouse. I took care of my child. I did all the work, in this company. And now I'm recognizing I was over-functioning or I was my codependency or yada, yada. How do you work with somebody who's in that position where you do see them grow and they're on their way and the other person is staying where they are?
So this is a really common problem in addiction, right? It's like we've had this long dynamic, whatever that dynamic is, and how do I shift the gear after it's been, 15 years of being this other way, right? Like, and a lot of times it is involved in how do I stop over functioning or how do I stop enabling and stuff like that. Before I tell you what to do, I'll tell you what not to do. Because what you don't do is more important than what you do. Because the not do's cause big trouble in my mind. A lot of times, if you're not used to setting boundaries, right, you end up waiting until you get yourself to a point of being mad to set the boundaries. And so when you do it, you go too hard or too harsh or too cold or like you slam the door down, right? And that's not a helpful way to do it because that's from all the years you've built up these resentments and frustrations and you haven't dealt with this and you're scared to draw the boundary. So you're coming in, like with your dukes up or whatever, so
yes.
So realizing you can set a firm boundary and, like be, to use your word, appropriate about it. Even be kind about it, like, and still set a boundary that's worth keeping. And the way that I teach people to do that is acknowledge that you've made the change, or say, like a lot of times I teach people to get out of the bad guy role. Because actually when you're over functioning, you feel like you're the hero because you're like, I'm doing all the dang on work. But really in that person's mind, you're the bad guy. You're the villain in their story. Like, I know that is like a punch in the face to hear because you're like, are you kidding me? I'll do everything. Right. Because they see you as critical and controlling and judging of them. That's how they view you when you've been over functioning because there's probably is something because you've been doing it too much and you've built these resentments and you probably are kind of critical and judging these other people, right? Like, and they feel that, right? And so if you can acknowledge that, like the way I teach people to do it is I say, oh, listen, I know I did not handle that situation back there very well. And I jumped the gun and I did this or that, or I used to always do this and that's not fair. If you acknowledge that, that's going to get their attention right out the gate.
The ownership.
especially if you acknowledge
Mhm.
something that they've been trying to get you to see and admit for 10 years. They're going to really pay attention to what you're saying
Yeah.
now, ears open, right?
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was
Yes.
talking with someone whose partner had like literally she came home from this work trip, and there were these two friends came over, and they were like a couple friends, and he said, I need to talk to you, the husband, and the two friends were there, and she's like, oh my God, what's about to happen, like, holy gosh. And he said, I've got a problem, like I need to change. And he had said it to his friends who were sort of there to support him while he said it to his wife or whatever, and I was talking to the wife. And so she was like, oh, finally, like she was like all happy. Well, of course it doesn't go smooth, right? Like just because he said that, and I completely believe he meant that, like, because you don't do that without meaning it.
Yeah.
Like he totally meant that, but he still used, like, 3 days later or whatever, he did the thing. And she was upset, and she was like, oh, I handled it all wrong, Amber. I didn't do any of the things you told me to do. I was so mad. I said all this and that. I said, it's okay, good. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go in and said, you know what? I handled that all wrong the other day. I feel terrible because you were vulnerable with me. You said this thing, and I completely believed you. And then I jumped the gun when you didn't do it perfectly. And I'm really sorry for that. I'm going to do better. And that's what I told her to say. This is exactly what I want you to say.
Yeah.
And then stop and see what happens next, right? And stop. And then if they want to talk about it more, they will. And you can continue that conversation with them as long as they're engaging in that conversation. But when they start giving you okay, like I'm done talking about this, then you step out, right? So that's what I mean when I say, if you will start by just acknowledging somehow something you've not handled well in the past or why you're making this change. Another way I call it is like, there's this guy I follow named Chris Voss, who's a hostage negotiator.
I love him.
So cool,
love
right?
him.
He calls it the accusations audit. So I always called it like, you say it before they say it. But his term for it was really good. I was like, oh, I'm stealing that from you, Chris Voss. What is it that they're going to accuse you of? And to just say it first, because if you don't, they're thinking it. And it's like this roadblock that's in the way. They can't hear anything else because it's all they can think about.
Yeah.
So if you say it first. Whatever the accusation that's going to be there, lead with that. And then you can have an honest conversation with them about it. You can set the boundary. And when you set it, if it's changing the rules of the game and they say something like, but you said and you did and you never did that before, acknowledge the unfairness of that. Say, I know, freaking unfair. I told you yesterday this, and now I'm changing it, and that's messed up. Like, just own it. And then what are they going to say after you owned it? Right? Argument over. And you're like, you're right. It's not fair. It's messed up of me,
Yes. Can you imagine if we lived in a world like that where we all just took ownership and the victim mentality was less than the ownership that we that like what would it would have to be that we would deal with shame, right? We would have to work through shame and like you said, knowing our value and growing up in a world where we felt like we're special and that we matter, right? It comes from that sort of place. And so how do you work through the shame that your clients or the people that come to you, how do you talk about shame? How do you talk about that with them? Because it's a difficult topic.
I make it less scary. So one is just the tone and energy I bring to the conversation. I talk to them just like I'm talking to you. Like, it's not this big serious. I never have a clipboard. Like, there's no like sitting there like you're in the principal's office. None of that, right? I'm like, and when I'm listening to them, and I see a lot of men, and I think this is especially important with men, it's like, if we can talk about hard things with humor, they can talk about it. They just don't want to be like, they don't want any tears to come out. They don't want any like, so if you can, I can be like, dude, you did what? Your wife is going to kill. Oh my gosh, I can't believe she's still with you or whatever, They're like, I know, right? And now we're talking about the thing, the scary thing. So keeping the tone in the right place is very helpful. And then, like a standard counseling technique would just be to normalize them. Dude, no wonder you did that. Of course, because blah, 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 blah. And then I give them like evidence in their life. And that helps, right? And the other thing that I think is really important when you're talking to someone who's talking about something they're shameful about or something that they need to change is to make it less scary and not more scary. Because when other people, like their family, are trying to talk about it. Like they're trying to get their attention, right? Because like this person won't deal with this thing. So they say it louder and they say it more frequently and they make the problem bigger and they say, you know, you're an addict or you're lazy and you're always like this. And if you don't change, these terrible things are going to happen and you're going to have to go to meetings for the rest of your life. And blah. I'm like, dude, that's not selling it.
No.
No.
So if you
No.
make it less scary, all of those techniques are about make it less scary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Less
Yeah.
intimidating, because it's like most people think in order to get through to this person, I have to like be really serious and I have to like really make them see
Who likes
how
that?
serious this is.
Who likes
No
who
one.
enjoys that? Like who is on the other side of that? Like, oh, I'm so glad that you are telling me these things that I need to do and I'm gonna go and do. I don't know a single person. Do you?
No. And, you talked about this in one of your videos about sometimes we feel like if we don't point out the problem and
Mm-hmm.
give them shame, that it's almost like we're agreeing with whatever they're doing, right? Like, oh, it's fine what you're doing. And
Yes.
so you talk about in your videos how, and this goes not just for addiction, this goes for any area in our lives.
Oh yeah.
I tell people this: shame has one function, and it's for correction. That's it. It's not to be carried. You don't carry it with you. You say, oh, I'm feeling this because something has to change. Whether you change it or not, that's not what I'm talking about. You do have options, right? You can go down a road, but shame has one purpose, and that is for change, right? But okay, but don't carry it. It's not made to carry. But we use shame as a weapon so often, especially in relationships. I've seen people say, well, if I can, or with ourselves, if I can make myself feel shame about this, it's punishing ourselves.
Oh, beat yourself up. Yeah.
You're beating yourself up and you're saying, well, okay, I did this horrible thing. So if I feel shame about it, that's my punishment and I can't let it go.
Because I deserve to feel this way, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Or I can weaponize it and use it for my relationships in whatever form they are. And that is controlling, right? It's you need to do what I want you to do. And you've talked about this in your videos about the problem is a lot of times on the other end, it's if I can make them feel enough shame, maybe they'll change.
Right. Or consequences, or if I can get them to see the magnitude of what this choice means, or
the ultimatum.
right. Like it's like you just got to realize if I say this, what are they going to think? In almost every circumstance, if I ask a person, if you say these words, what is your person going to think? They can tell me exactly, right?
Yeah.
And we don't stop to think about if, A plus B equals whatever. We just think about, I just want them to know this piece of information. What's the fastest way, the most direct way? Or, they'll say, well, it's just the truth. I'm like, well, okay, but is it digestible? Like, is it hearable? Is it,
Love that. Is it
like,
digestible?
right, yeah. And so
how is it going to be received? What is your delivery here?
Yeah.
Like, did you choose the good time of day? Are they a night person? Are they a morning person? Did they just come in from work? Like, when are we choosing to have this really intense conversation that really never goes well, but we're going to try it again in the same way, not changing a variable. Let's just keep doing it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me say it louder.
Yeah. Let me say it louder.
Let me see if your mama will come and say it to you, because then you'll listen. Somebody from church, somebody else will say it to you, and then you'll believe it. We try all those things, right? And it doesn't work. And I think of shame, like in my mind, there's like a meter, like a thermometer almost. And shame is sort of like in the red zone, like when your gas tank gets in the empty, you're in the red zone, right? And I think of guilt is sort of in that middle green zone. And I say you actually want people to feel guilty and not shameful, because shameful is too hard to feel. And shameful just provokes an escape button, right? Change the topic, blame you, get drunk, start a fight. Like, it just wants the feeling to go away immediately. It's too hot. It's too intense. So if you're saying something to someone that's hitting their shame buttons, they're just going to do whatever they got to do to escape. Their personality, some may argue with you, some may bring up all your flaws, some may say, yeah, you're right. But what they're really just saying is, shut up, I want this conversation over. They just escape that feeling, because we all are like that, right? If you just step out of the way, if you just let people feel their own guilt for their mistakes or their bad choices or the hurtful thing they said, they'll correct their behavior, because guilt is sort of it's enough that it gets their attention, but not too much to tolerate. And people will start shifting it's like in the middle zone, in the green zone in there, right? And so we talk a lot about how to let your person feel their own guilt. And the best way to do that is actually, when they mess up, have empathy for them.
Yeah.
Which is super
so
surprising.
counterintuitive, right? Like,
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it seems to be counterintuitive to have that empathy or compassion.
Yeah.
We're like, we're just doing human to human here. It doesn't mean that you approve their behavior. I mean, oftentimes you can have empathy and compassion for the person who isn't your spouse or your parent or even your child. Like, it's easier to do that. And really, we're supposed to give our best to the people who are the closest to us, who are right in front of us. Why do you think that is? Why are we more free to give that to others and not to the people right in front of us?
I think because we use up all of our patience for everyone else, and we don't leave any for home or for our close relationships. And we're impatient, and so we just want someone to hear something or know something or change something as fast as possible. We don't want to allow the process, and what we end up doing is we end up slowing it down by not being, I call it being strategic, being patient, being strategic, like laying the steps in a certain way to help a person come along. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when I do talk to clients and I say, like, here are the things that you need to do, and it could be for any situation, I'm like, that's just so manipulative, Meredith. I'm like, yeah, it is. There's a spectrum of manipulation here.
Right.
You know, like, is this for good? Is it for evil?
Right.
What's the motive? Let's look at your heart first. Let's look at why we're doing it, what brought you here, and talk through it. But there is a strategy. I love the word strategy and the motivation behind it. That is a form of manipulation, but we just hear it as a bad thing all the time.
Right.
You know,
manipulation
so it's like,
has a bad connotation to it. So I use the word persuasion. Persuasion is helping someone do what's best for them. And manipulation is getting someone to do something for your own selfish kind of reasons or whatever, right? And so, but you're right. It's really the intention behind what you're doing. And I don't care what you call it. And manipulation, I don't care. Like, I've no shame with it. If we're trying to help somebody make the right decision, we do whatever we're going to do, right? I don't care how we do it. Like, appeal to their ego, whatever.
Right? No, it's so true. It is so true. Yeah. I work with a lot of couples like you do. I do a lot of couples therapy, and I really appreciated what you were talking about with couples therapy and how we can do more damage sometimes than we do good. And one of the strategies that I heard you speak of is sometimes you separate the couple. They work on themselves individually, and then maybe they come together with each therapist, or the therapists talk with one another, and they can work with each other as individuals. And I have found that later on in my career that I do that more than I did in the beginning. What's the power behind that for you in working in a strategy like that?
Well, first I'll just do my own accusations audit and say, first of all, the reason I do it is because I hate doing couples therapy. It is too much work. It is two people arguing in front of you, trying to convince you that they're right, and you're going to somehow now convince their partner that they need to listen to you.
She hates it.
Like, oh my gosh, it's freaking miserable. I hate
I'm
it.
with you. I do not coach couples. I've coached like a couple in the last, because I'm like, nah, I'm out.
So if I'm real honest here, I'd say some of what I do is for my own good, right? But it's not all this for me. In my experience, when couples come to see us, there's been so much trouble that putting them in the same room, for me, it just slows down the process, right? Because either the people come in and they play nice because they don't want to argue in front of another person, right? And then nothing gets said, and then they're leaving like, oh man, we're paying a lot of money for what, right? Or they do say what they're thinking, and that's even worse, because then they get in a bigger fight, and they literally fight for 2 days after every session, and they're like, wow, we're paying her and our relationship's getting worse or whatever, right? And so it's like,
you like shook it up and then you sent them on your way. You know, it's like when the grandparents bring the kids, all like shook it up.
Yes, exactly. So for me, that's the problem where couples therapy is. And there's also a problem with just doing it individually, because when you just do it individually, you never get the whole story. I don't care which side you are listening to, you're getting half the story at best. And that person, they're not necessarily trying to lead you wrong, but we all have our own narrative about what's happening. So it's not so much I'm lying to my person, but like we have our own blind spots. So
self-preservation. Yeah.
The way we've done it in our office, we call it lawyering, right? Like we give each person their own advocate. So that, and the two advocates can talk to each other, right? So that I know, when my person comes in and says, well, I did this, and then I talk to my coworker and they're like, oh, did they tell you those part? I'm like, oh, they didn't tell me that part, like, so I know what's really going on, but individually it gives this person like safety and space to feel like someone hears me, has my side. And honestly, I can be way more direct, way more confrontational individually than I could be in a couple, because I spend all my energies trying to mediate the whole dang thing. Like individually, I could tell you, because I've built a relationship at this point with you, and then I'm like, dude, you totally screwed that up. I can't believe you did that. And they're like, I know, and we could talk about it. But I would never say that to you with your partner sitting there, because they would use that against you later, right? And then you would feel like you just got scolded in front of your friend, or
Right.
So I feel like it's a lot faster to divide and conquer, right?
Well, oftentimes we're up against each other's fears.
Yeah.
Right. We're up against each other's stories, the things that we carry into the relationship. So there's not a whole lot that can necessarily heal sometimes in the moment with our person. It's something that we have to recognize within ourselves. And then when you recognize that, I do like bringing them together so they can talk about it in that way of like, this is what I'm learning about myself. And I was wondering if you could help me in my healing with this. And this is a request, this isn't something that I'm telling you have to do, or that even sometimes I need for you to do. Like we really ultimately have to take care of our own needs. We hope that the person we choose will want to do that for us. And I think that's a bonus. I have to say, I say that I'm like, that's a bonus. You chose well, right? It's not necessarily the human condition, honestly. Like, we are selfish people. We just are. It is self-preservation. It's survival. Like, we are always up against our fears. So that is why, yes, couples therapy can be very difficult when you're asking someone to be vulnerable, but what are they going to do with that thing? Like when they receive it, and you only get 55 minutes, which is crazy, and that's not a lot of time. So I am finding, I do like doing couples therapy in the way that all the different ways. It depends on the couple, of course, but I also have been one to not work with a couple if someone is in active addiction. I have found that like, you're basically just up against the addiction. It's not, the person isn't really available.
Right.
What would you say about that? What do you think about that?
I agree. I agree with that. Like, when someone's in active addiction, either you're going to go to the couples therapy and you're going to try to address the addiction, which is going to go badly, because if you're trying to drag your partner in to tell the counselor that they're an addict or an alcoholic, they're going to feel like it's a principal's office meeting every time, right?
Yes.
And so they're going to stop going, right?
Yeah.
Or even worse, they're going to convince the therapist that you are controlling and mean and judgmental, and then the therapist is going to validate their addictive behavior. Right? That's even worse, right? So that doesn't work in a couple situation. And if you don't talk about addiction, you're wasting your time. So it's so it's like there's no
so true
win, right? Like, it's like we have to deal with this addiction piece first. And I usually am the one, like, I call it, lawyering. And I always say I'm the defense attorney. Like, I'm always on the person who's really messing up side. It's my job to sort of dig them out of it or whatever. So the way I tell it to my clients, I'm like, listen, because they're always like, they think my drinking or gambling, they think that's our only problem, and they don't want to admit they're bringing problems. I'm like, I know, right? They got the ace card against you, because as long as this going on, they can throw that ace card out there anytime they want, and any of their wrongdoings are like done. Like, you can't even get to them. So I'm like, we got to get this out of the way so we can talk about this other real stuff, right? So this other stuff can surface. They're like, yeah,
Like, are you with me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah. Of course, it's not all. Of course, all the problems aren't just because of that or whatever. Yeah.
That brings up the curiosity of, when are we caring for someone and caring about someone? Like, when are we enabling? You know, like, how far do we go with being on somebody's side?
Well, it's such a big topic. It's probably one of the most common topics I talk about. So I'll give you my like very short like formula for it first, and then we can go in depth as much as you want to. But like,
okay,
if you want to know the difference, when you help someone, you always leave with a good feeling, because as humans, we get the serotonins, we get all the good neurochemical boosts. Helping makes you feel good. Enabling makes you feel resentful. Because when you're enabling, you're usually doing something that you don't want to do, that you don't feel is fair to do, and you feel resentful and guilty, and you have bad feelings. Yeah. So if you want to know which you're doing, ask yourself, how did it make you feel? Did you feel good about it, or did you feel bad about it? That's how you know which side of the line that you're on, right?
Yeah.
So that's my simple formula for it. Yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful way to look at it, and also I like how you're talking about how you feel about it. Like, where does it go for you in your body, and how long does it stay? And is it something that you feel like you need to address with the person? I'm not going to necessarily say to somebody I helped, wasn't that so great the other day that I helped you with that, you know? But maybe it was someone who you're enabling, you're going to want to go back to them about the thing that you did, get some validation, like help them see that you're, I can see the difference.
And again, that kind of goes back to, that's why they see you as the villain, even though you're like, what? I'm doing all the hard stuff here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see that especially with parents who enable children, and you have the 30-year-old kid who never got a job, right? And because the parents did everything. Right. And they're like, why does he hate us? I'm like, because enablement, it breeds resentment. Yes, it breeds it. Yes. It's just a breeding ground for it.
For sure, right? Yeah. You feel resentful because you've overgiven of yourself and not met your own needs, you know, and they feel resentful because they feel like they're controlled or judged or criticized or, you know, whatever, you know, or they just don't allow their self-esteem to grow because they're not doing anything themselves. But one of the things that I say about enabling that's probably different than most is, most people, when they talk about enabling, they talk about like letting them live in your house or giving someone money or covering someone's shifts at work or whatever, which is enabling, right? But on the grand scheme of enabling, I don't even care about those things. I can tell you what the most enabling thing is. The most enabling thing you can do is play the villain in someone's story. And let me explain why. You can give someone $50, and if they're an addict or whatever, they're probably going to go like use it on drugs or whatever, or waste it if they're not, you know. And yes, that is enabling or whatever, but that's gone in 10 minutes. Okay. And then it's over. If you yell and scream and say a bunch of mean things and act like a crazy lunatic fool, they will use that against you for the next 20 years. They will use that as their rationalization. I mean, they'll be getting high on that for years and years. And it's like the emotional currency. Because especially when it comes to addiction, but not just with addiction, just other things like, you know, like your kid that won't get a job or any of these things, like bad choices. There's a formula for bad choices, right? It's resentment, then self-pity, then bad choice, right? I resent this person or my boss or this situation. Then I feel sorry for myself. I let myself off the hook and I make a bad choice, right? So you don't be the one that hits the resentment button, right? You don't play the villain. If you refuse to do that, they'll see their own problems so much faster. I mean, because we all know, we all have our guilt is already right there underneath, right? Yeah. If you just step out of the way, it will surface in somebody. Like, it naturally motivates people. So don't play the villain.
Can you give us an example of how that shows up? Like, what's a typical dynamic of that? What you're talking about? Like,
let's say the issue is you feel like, you know, you've got a 27-year-old son who's living in your house who refuses to work and get out, right? If you're doing everything for them and you're constantly reminding them and you're saying, how many job applications did you fill out? And, you know, we told you could be here for 6 months and now you've been here for 2 years, and you're constantly reminding them of that, and you're saying things that make them feel bad. You're being the villain in their story in their and the problem with that is it distracts them from seeing their real issue. Because as long as I can focus on what you're doing wrong, it's so much easier to stay mad at you and focus on everybody else's character defects, flaws, shortcomings, whatever. And it's like this distraction. And the way I learned this is because from years and years of seeing addicts and alcoholics, if their family is doing that, and 99% of the time they are, it's the only thing they can talk to me about. I can't even get close to the addiction or what they're doing wrong. If that family member is playing the villain, it's the only thing on their mind.
Wow.
And once that family member stops doing that, then they'll start actually coming and saying, man, I did this. I feel really bad about it. Or I tried this. It didn't work. Like their own stuff will surface. So it's like this big distraction, so that's why I say it's like, that is the most enabling thing you can do.
Wow.
So how do you walk alongside that 27-year-old and bring them into the adulthood where you're not the one, where you're loving them through it, right? But they still need the executive functioning skills. They still need, the motivation. They need these parts where you're not going to be there to take care of them all the time. How do you walk alongside the family with that?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is to sort of try to figure out, why do you think it's not working? Is it addiction? If it's addiction, then we need to figure out how to deal with that. But is it something else? Is it, I have social anxiety and I'm scared to death to go to a job interview? Is it, what is the thing that we think is blocking, right? And address that instead of saying, how many applications did you fill out? And this happened and that happened. So that's one. And then on the boundary side, instead of saying, you need to get a job, you need to say, you need to pay this much rent.
I like that.
And let them figure out how to do it. I don't care how they do it, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is we start telling them how to solve that problem all the time. Did you call Uncle Jake about that guy he knows, And again, we're being the villain when we're doing that. We don't care. They sell the real world just says, here's the expectation. Let them figure out how to, don't be micromanaging someone. Just say, hey,
okay.
That is a great way to see it. That is wonderful. It's almost like, I love that because it's almost like business, right?
Yeah.
It's the mom and dad are like, well, here's how to solve the problem of the rent, instead of just thinking like the landlord and going, you owe me rent. Like you need to figure out how to get the rent.
Yeah. But
that's a shift. I love that.
It is a shift. And it's a matter of fact situation where you need to do this. Right. And so then here's the next question that you will always hear is, well, what if they don't do it?
Right. Then you have to be prepared to sort of hold that line. And when it comes to having someone in your house, whether it's an adult, whatever, it's really hard to get someone out of your house. So you need to think that through. But one thing, I'll just say this that I like to do when it comes to that is, like, let's say this is your adult kid. There might be part of you, and you could go either way with this, but you could say, well, I'm going to charge them a reasonable amount. Or you could say, I'm going to charge them an unreasonable amount, because they're immediately going to think, well, this is stupid. If I'm going to pay that much, I'm going to have my own place. Which is true. So if you really want to get this
sometimes that works.
Yeah, charge them enough money. They're like, dude, I'm not paying that much to stay here. I'm going to have my own place. Right? It's like, I call it let the world do the teaching, right? Instead of you. If you let the natural consequences fall where they need to fall and let the world be the villain, and when that happens, if you play the good guy and you're empathetic about it, you don't fix it, but you're nice about it and you're empathetic about it, that creates the right brain conditions for learning and change.
Well, again, it goes back to what you're saying. It's digestible. They can digest that a lot easier than they can digest the other character that you play in their life.
Right.
And you're doing the same thing, right? You have the chia seeds. You cannot eat chia seeds just eating them, right? They get caught in your intestines. They're not digestible. But if you soak them first, they're still the chia seed. You're just doing it differently. The delivery is different.
Delivery is everything.
And then you can digest it. And so that's the imagery that I have with it is it digestible?
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that you're digesting, but it's the delivery is different.
And that's why we talk about it in 1%. Like that like, we're not going to solve the problem today, family. You've had this problem for 20 years.
Mhm.
So like, what's the first thing? Can we just all agree to listen to one another? How about if we just, whatever that small thing is, or like, can we
Yeah.
just acknowledge that you're all here in the same room together? You all decided to do this. So this shows something,
Yes.
that we're all here for. Like, what is the smallest piece that we can point out,
Mhm.
before we start growing on that,
Before
on
we
the
start trying to get
monumental
something to
problem.
change, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And to me, the smallest piece is building the relationship and building influence over the person, right? So
Mhm.
before I even
Yeah.
have this rent conversation with you, if I lay this other groundwork first, I promise you it'll go way better, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what
Right.
you were saying. If you take ownership first, if you
take it-
start, if you start there,
Yeah.
then they'll digest it better. Yeah.
Always.
Which is, I
Like,
see
always.
you, I really see you, your struggles, your strengths. And when you can articulate to people, people want to be heard and seen. I mean, magical.
Yes.
If you can do that,
Yes.
and then you can also
Mhm.
see yourself and the good and the bad in
Mhm.
you, and you can articulate that. You have so much credibility with someone, right? And they
Mhm.
care what you think.
Yeah.
They'll come to you. They'll say,
Did
"What do you
you-
think I should do?" They'll actually ask
Yeah.
you, and when they do, you
Yeah.
can say,
Yeah.
"I don't know. This might work. Have you thought about this?" And you throw it out there
Yeah.
in sort of a
Mhm.
nonchalant way, But it's how you get that whole dynamic to change instead of you're chasing them all.
Mhm. What do you say? It's so true. So like the chase, right? So what do you say to the person who's done with the chase? They've tried all the things, and okay, like I really am done. I don't want to be done, but I have to be done. And we will say, well, that's a choice. That's an option. Like, that's what you want to do. Like, let's do it. Right.
Mhm.
But how long it takes somebody to get there where like, I just really can't do this anymore. It's not they're a bad
Mhm.
person. It's not even necessarily because they have an addiction. It could
Right.
be we see this honestly a lot with our mid 40 to mid 50 clients, let's just
Yeah.
say, especially with
Yeah.
females, because we know what happens during that time biologically. And the statistics show like, we're like, and I don't want to be married to you anymore. Right. So
Right. And
there's
I've
a
put
lot
up
that
with it for
happens.
this long.
Uh-huh.
Right? Yeah. I'm at the end of my
Yes.
time. Yep.
Exactly. And it goes both ways, but
Yep.
like the biology of it, right? Like
Mhm.
really pushes a woman, I think, in a different direction sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, we are seeing quite a bit of that, I would say, with our clients of we're done. Like the women, especially, like we're exhausted. We're done. Like we've held the family together. I genuinely can't do it anymore. Like it's we need you to do something. And they'll be with me maybe for a year, a little bit more than a year. We've tried all the different things individually together. They've had their own and they really have done the work. And you get to a place of capacity. I
Mhm.
think that's what I'm learning as a therapist, where I can teach more, and I can look more at the capacity of a person.
Yeah.
They've reached their capacity, and you're asking them now to be someone that they never will be and they never can be.
Mhm.
So that's the person right in front of you.
Mhm.
Yes, you have a decision to make.
I tell people about that is that's not a decision you make in the heat of the moment. It's not a decision you make during an argument. It's a decision that you make that's a steady, consistent feeling, when things are calm and when things are rocky, right? Because you make it while you're mad and you're like, that's it, I'm done. You throw your hands in the air, you throw their stuff in the yard. Once that feeling goes away, you're going to take that decision back. And then you're going to feel stupid, like, no wonder they don't listen to me because I don't even back my stuff up, right? But if you've really thought about it and you're not making it out of anger or just in the heat of the moment, you're a lot more likely to stick. And never, ever bluff an ultimatum.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
That's
Say more
bad.
about that.
Like
Yeah.
Say more about that, Amber.
Well, like in addiction recovery land, like a lot of times, people be like, that's it. If you don't get sober, I'm leaving. But what they don't know, because there's been years of, in their mind, you're the villain. They're like, thank freaking God. I was wondering. They may not say that, but I promise you they're thinking it. Like they have this secret, like single life fantasy going on, because if you weren't there, they could drink or do like they want to do and they wouldn't feel criticized and judged all the time or whatever. So it's like, you think that's going to be the thing that's really going to get their attention and they mean it, but it's it's not.
No,
that-
they're like, that's a relief, right? That can
Right.
be a relief. Yeah.
And then you think, well, okay, if I make them move out, they're going to know I'm serious. They're going to stop doing that. And it never, if it's addiction, that's always going to get worse if they're left on their own. Like, because you're the only thing holding the floodgates back. So if you remove yourself from that, I promise you it's going to go crazy. So it's not me saying don't like leave or don't put someone out. I'm just saying don't say it when you don't mean it, and don't do it because you think it's going to make this person change, because it will only make them change for the worse. Because now they really get to feel sorry for themselves. I mean, really, really, in the biggest way. I can't believe it. You left me, like, and so if you do it, you're really doing it for you. You're not making it in a hasty moment, and you're really done. Like, even if they fixed it tomorrow, like, you just be done because there's too much water on the bridge or whatever it is, like, you're just done. That's when you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening to one of your podcasts that you came from a home of addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting to me, listening to you now, watching all these videos. I come from a home where there was a lot of mental health issues with my mom, paranoid schizophrenic, and in and out of mental hospitals. And back in the 80s, those were so fun as a child to go visit. And so, the screams, the people attacking out of nowhere, it was a terrifying experience as a kid. And just my mom still struggles with it today. I mean, she's just she hasn't gotten any better, obviously, with this. But it's interesting. I could never, ever, ever have imagined myself, and I don't think I could go into the field of helping people with psychosis, with families that deal with that. I would just be too emotionally unavailable. I would either disassociate completely or I would be crying with them, but not in a good way. they'd be hugging me, all of these things. So I'm listening to you talk about addicts, and I know you have a love for your family. Like you said, I kind of came from like the cool home. Like, I didn't see myself as like, I came from like the addicts home. So but I see, you really see addicts. Like, when you talk about them, and I think it's easy for people who aren't addicts and haven't dealt with that, just not really see them. They dehumanize them. It's just like they're an addict. But I don't see that with you. Like, I see a real care for them. How are you able to separate what you grew up with and what you encounter now?
Well, during my growing up, I didn't even realize that was the case. So I don't have a lot of feelings mixed up about it. I only realized it after I was in the field, which people think is crazy. It's not like I didn't know people were drinking and using drugs. I mean, it wasn't even hidden, but it was like, in my mind, it wasn't addiction, right? People didn't go to treatment. I never knew anybody that saw a counselor. Like, it just wasn't a thing. Like, so I didn't have those feelings. Now, I did have this thing, which is like embarrassing, but I always say, teenagers always rebel against anything, whatever's there, they're going to rebel against. And mine was, I'm going to make good decisions. Not like you people. Like, I would think this in my mind, like, I'm going to make smart decisions, because I could see, like, probably they made bad decisions. I didn't put the label of addiction on us. Looking back, oh my gosh, like, it was addiction. Like, I have no memory of my Mimi without a glass of vodka in her hand. Zero. And I love my like, but I still don't really feel like that's what makes me able to do my job. I feel like it because a lot of people will say, well, if you're in recovery, you can see them better. But I actually don't think that's always the case, because I think when you're in recovery, a lot of times it's easy to project your own story onto people and think, oh, I know what you're thinking, and I thought the same thing. You don't listen to people. So for me, it's about hearing someone's perspective, like understanding them as a person. I understand that.
As a person.
I can tell you the addict story. Like, it's the same story. Yeah. To you. But I'm just here to listen to you as a person and understand what it's like from all the perspectives to be in that situation, to feel cornered, to feel stuck, to feel judged, to feel forced. So, I mean, I did come from an addicted family, but I don't know how much that plays into the work that I do. I wish I could say it did, because it's a much better origin story. When you make content, origin story, that would be a better one. So I wish I could say it.
No, I actually, I've been listening to you. it didn't separate you. It helps you join with addicts because you had active addiction that you grew up with, and you saw them still as these people that you loved and cared for and normal, right? So you are using it now because that was the way that you were around addicts. You just didn't know any words for it, right? Like
That's
this
true,
is just
right?
these the decisions that people make, and I mean, they were functioning, or maybe they weren't, but we figured it out. You know, I'm here. Look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I figured out a way to love them. I knew who I could be safe around. I knew how to make myself safe. I knew whether I should be alone or not, or I could interact with this person or not. Like the way that you learn to move through life and dynamics and relationships was very much in this, like, I'm accepting them for who they are, and I have to control my dynamic with them because that's what I have to do. But that was normal for you.
Right.
And it just seems like that you have carried into what you do now.
I don't know if it's like some kind of deep Freud thing where it's like you're like attracted to people who have the same energy. I could kind of go with that. Like, I'm just comfortable in the room.
Yes,
like,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Like,
that's it.
On a subconscious level, like,
yes,
you know, I can.
When
see
you
that
talk
maybe.
about them, it's very interesting because I'm hearing you like. I wonder how many of them don't get spoken to, like they're just a person. They're their addiction to other people. But you're like, man, that was a bad mistake. Like, just the way, like, I'm hearing you talk to them, I'm just like, I can guarantee you they leave that room feeling cared for. And I don't know how often that's how often that is in their lives where they feel cared for, because a lot of people are looking at them as a problem to be solved.
Right.
Yeah. That's the goal, right? That they don't deal with this burden.
Right.
But in the process, you are just seeing them as a person. And I wonder how many walk away going, I was seen. Like, I feel seen by her. I'm a person to her. I'm not my addiction.
I think that probably is the thing that makes me able to do the work, that makes me good at doing the work that I do. Yeah. Because there's a culture, even, you know, not only are they not seen by their family and outsiders, but even when you get help in addiction recovery, there's this idea of, you got to be willing, you got to admit you're an addict, you got to be willing to do whatever we tell you to do, or you're never, I mean, there's just this whole like thing that pushes people away, that I just really don't have, right? Like, and some of that goes back to seeing those teens, and like, it's kind of a funny story, but like, my job isn't to tell someone how to get sober, it's to help them decide to get sober, because people fix their own problems. Everyone knows their own way. They all know what their problems are, and they all know how they're going to do it. They may be resisting it for certain reasons, right? But not only do I see them with their problem, but I just see like their good parts too. And because I can see their good parts, they like to see me because I see those good things in them. I see who they are, and that brings them back.
Yeah. Right. That was what attracted me to your videos. Is when I was watching you, I'm like, she sees them. Like, that's her main thing. Like, that's it. If I were to say one thing about every video, I was like, she sees them. And I guarantee you they're walking away. They may not have those words to verbalize it, but everybody feels that.
You know the feeling.
You do.
You know the feeling when you're with a person who sees you, who hears you, who just is like, I really appreciate you talking to me about all of this. Like, you know, I say often to clients, and it sounds like you come from this way as well, where it's like, it's a privilege to be here. I'm really grateful that you want to share all this with a stranger, that you feel safe to do that here. And I'm going to do the best that I can with you. Let's do this together. You know, like, to be able to just feel that from the person who's been struggling forever with this one thing, right? But that's not who they are. That's a symptom of a story, right? That's a symptom of a problem, but it's not them. Right. There's so much more to people than what we see.
Right.
There's so much more to them than what we see, that they don't even really want us to see it, but that's the thing they know. They don't know how to do it any other way.
Yeah. And addiction has a way, I know, of making people feel less valuable, right? To even other people. There's loved ones, especially because there's hurt there. It's like their value is less because of the addiction. And that's not the case. And that's why when I'm listening to you, and that's the one thing that I get is I'm like, she sees them. That's why she's successful in what she's doing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the factor. Like it's literally not any kind of special technique of how to tell them how to solve their problem. It's literally building the influence. And in order to do that, someone has to think that you really get them, because when they get themselves in a jam, they're going to come to you first and they're going to say, what should I do?
Yes.
And then you're going to say the thing that you've been knowing they should do for however many months, like
Yes.
it's been going on. But you have to sort of set the stage for that,
It's so true.
Yeah. That's, I've loved this conversation because I don't feel like I'm talking to somebody who just has like these methods, right? And you see that a lot on social media, 3 ways to not be angry in the car, but you're just like, it is about relationship. And then you build that and you're able to speak truth.
And then you can use these 3 things.
Right. And then you can use the 3 things
to speak to somebody in the car when you're afraid.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you gotta do all those other pieces first.
Yeah.
And we're just impatient people, aren't we? Like we're just like, and we understand why somebody would be impatient.
Especially
a lot of
dealing
things.
with the problems that my people deal with, because the house is literally on fire.
On fire.
Yeah.
Like bad things could happen tomorrow. Like it is urgent. Like it is crisis. It is urgent. It is the end of the world in some respects. But there's still, this is still the fastest way to do it. The other way just slows it down, makes someone defensive, which just gets people blocked for years and years. People spend years and years and years power struggling with you about something. And deep down, they really don't like it themselves.
Yeah. It's a process for you. You do these 1% every time you meet with them, right? Where you gain their trust. And I do believe it's very authentic.
Yeah.
And where she does these 1% where this trust builds and then she's able to make it digestible, right?
We want people to tell us the truth if we have that relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was saying earlier about the respect. I want someone to tell me what they think if I respect you, if I have that relationship with you, if we've built this over time. And sometimes you can get that very quickly because of the type of person you are, And I can imagine, like, with a lot of shame comes that judgment, right? And we're talking to people. Well, somebody is going to judge you if you're acting in these ways. What do you expect them to think about you? Like this is. And sometimes it's like, well, how would you like to be seen? How would you like to be seen? And how do you think that's possible? Let's do that. Let's go in that direction.
Right. How do you want to be seen is a really important question that I teach family members. I say, how does your person want to be seen? Like their goodness. What is it about them they want people to see? That they're kind, that they're good looking, that they make a lot of money, that they're self-sacrificing, whatever it is. And if you'll see that part of them, you have to resist your own, well, they think they're like that, but they're not. I'm like, no, they probably are, right? You're just like, and if you can see that part, man, it makes people come alive. Like I talk about positive reinforcement. So like, let's say you come home, your wife makes dinner and you're like, thanks, babe, dinner was great. That's good. That'll get you a lot of points. But if you said, you cook dinner for us every night, you're always so aware of what everybody wants, you're the best, you're so considerate. Man, the level of being seen, if you can say something like that to someone, it's like a whole...
I felt that
way more credit
when you said it. Yeah, I felt that when you said it, Amber, and I don't cook. So I felt that.
Yeah.
Really, it's
true.
The way you said that, like being so specific, your eye contact, like everything within your whole being, you're saying this. And I was like, I know she's not talking to me, but I felt it.
Yeah. What does it mean that you do that, right? Like if you say to your husband, you're always such a good provider. You work so hard for us, right? You carry these burdens that we don't even know about. Like that part that hasn't been seen, that people really want, like it's super powerful.
It is super powerful. And
And teach your children that.
Teaching your children too. And, my husband and I, that is a discipline because it's a discipline, like doing that. And it doesn't come naturally for me. My mind's everywhere with ADD, but it's, hey guys, we are at Dollywood because your dad worked extra shifts. Like, isn't that amazing? Your dad got up early 2 extra times.
Oh, that's such
and
a
it
good
was
way
really,
to teach them to see it.
yeah,
Wow.
it's so, we're here because of that. And then my husband will say, hey guys, this is such a great trip. But did you notice who packed your bags and why we had sunscreen at the beach? It's because your mom did it. Your mom thought about you. That's why.
I love that. Like modeling that for your kids and teaching them how to filter for that, right? Because
exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Exactly. So it's just, it has to be generational because we want to teach our children to see outside of themselves. It's already hard even as adults to do that. With children, it's even harder because it's just, it's their world. You just live in it, right? So it's like
my sister says about my niece, she's like, she didn't even know I was a real person until she was like 17. She like literally didn't even know I was a real person. I'm like, it makes me laugh. I'm like, I know, right? She's like I'm a human being with my own thoughts and feelings.
That is so
I'm just
true.
a character. I just play a character.
Yeah. But yeah, calling out specifics is a huge thing. It's just, there is a difference between saying you're a great mom and then saying, I see how you are doing, making sure that there's, play dates on Wednesdays, even though you're tired because you work in the morning. I'm seeing that when you feel seen, let me tell you, you will be a different person in your family.
You'll show up
in your
totally
relationships.
different. You'll bring your best self. Like it's all the right brain chemicals going. It makes you really attracted to this person, and not like in a romantic way, but just like I like this person, right? Because they make you feel good, right? And then you naturally want to please them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you do.
You do.
You really do. I see that. I see that quite often with couples when they do that turnaround of like, oh, you really do still like me, or you really do still love me. Like when it's such a great moment when they have those moments and they're like, well, look what, this is what I heard this week from my partner. Like, this is what they did for me. Or you feel when that comes down and like, okay, are we all healed now? We can go on with our lives, like, this is good. But it is, but the work that you do as a coach, as a therapist, to get people there, that it just seems like that is your mission and your method. Like if someone were to ask your method, that's it. Just make sure they're heard and seen.
Right.
And how do you do that? Like you're like, yeah, she's like, yeah, it's simple. And we think so too.
It's not simple because like in my own personal, I always say it's easy for me to say, like I deal with your loved one for an hour a week, right? And their bad choices aren't messing my life up.
Right, exactly.
Easy
that
for
is
you
the
to
truth.
see their good qualities. I'm like, I agree. You're right.
You're right. You're right.
Yep.
And in my own personal life, I'll mess it up all the time. And I'm not, it's like my own little therapist ghost of myself kicks in here and says, oh, like, better than that. I can't believe you did. I have to have a little therapy session with myself. Because it's not in my work, I've done it so long, it's super I don't even have to think about it. Right. But in your real life, it's not always your natural instinct.
No.
I have to really think about it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's true. It is keeping yourself accountable to continue. I'm teaching these things to the people I'm coaching, but if I am not applying it to myself, like I don't have 2 legs to stand on with this.
right.
Like we were talking earlier, family, my husband says, you will never hear of me at work being better than I am at home. You get my best, not them.
Wow.
The outside world does not get the best of me.
Wow.
My family does. So when I'm home, I'm nicer than I'm at work. I say thank you more. There's more gratitude because
that's like
this family gets my best.
World right there. Like,
right. Yeah. And so,
what?
and that's a discipline, right? Because for some reason we feel like when we go out to the outside world, we've got to, it's like our Facebook page. Look at all these great things about me. The best pictures go up. Right. And then at home, they see all the other pictures we've filtered through. Right.
Right, and some of that's
So-
normal. You know, like teenagers would tell me, "Oh, my mom, like when she's in front of other people, she acts like this and that and the other. You should see her home." And I'm like, "Okay, that's just manners. Okay, that's not being
right.
too
That's manner. Yes.
Yeah.
That's manners. Okay, like, I hope
Or social
that
anxiety.
you put your better face on in public to some degree, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you're not walking around looking crazy,
Yeah.
like, you know, or home or whatever. But like, so you know, because some people are like, "Oh, you don't know the real them." I'm like, it's all the real them, right? It's different parts.
Yes.
Right. It is. It's different facets of who they are.
It's just being a good citizen.
And that's, yeah, but your family gets your best, even with my kids. I'm like, would you say that to your classmate? No. Then you don't have to say it to your sister,
Mm-hmm.
period. Like, she gets your best too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would share that with your classmate, share it with your sister.
I love that you're so
We don't do
intentional
that.
about the way you're modeling that for your kids. That's so cool.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
She
Really
is.
I have
good.
to. I feel like I'm a liar if I don't. If I go telling people this, I'm not doing it at home.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm lying. Like I'm lying to you.
You would punish
Mhm.
yourself.
Oh, I would. I would absolutely
You would
punish
punish yourself lying to your children.
Right.
You're like, I'm just not a. You would not be able to go to bed at night.
Yeah.
your
because you'd be
guilt,
like, I
your
was
guilt would
so-
get closer to the red zone, right? And it
Oh,
would-
yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
you'd-
yeah.
Yeah.
you're like, I
They're
can't
so
do that.
tired of hearing all the little things that I say. I'm like, oh, is that I can't hand like whining and like victim mentality. I'm like, do you know where victims are? Yes, mom. Prisons. I'm like, exactly. That's where a bunch of
Oh, I love that.
victims
That's
are.
right. Because see, there you go. Because it's like I said, bad choices. Here's the formula: resentment, self-pity, bad choice. Victim
Yes.
thinking equals bad. Like
Exactly.
even for me on a little level, like, you know, when I wake up at the beginning of the day and I've got all my willpower tanks full, I'm like, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to be good, I'm going to eat the right foods, I'm going to, you know, do great with my clients. But by the time, you know, I've had 5 sessions and made 3 videos or whatever it is, and then I get home, like I'm eating gummy bears for dinner. And in my mind, I'm like, I have worked hard enough and I don't give a damn.
Yes,
And
yes,
why
yes.
I don't have anything left to cook no dinner. Like that's my own
Yes.
victim thing and not let my own stuff off the hook. So we all do that
Yes.
in little ways and big ways. So that's what I say is like, how do we, when we make those decisions we know are not good or that kind of go against our values, we have to like medicate that somehow. And the way we do that is we rationalize it. And it's usually some sort of self-pity state.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, victim mentality is a huge thing for my house. I'm like, no, it's called ownership.
Mhm.
We're going to own it. Even if we're kind of just being bratty and we want the gummy bears for dinner, like
Mhm.
that's fine, but we don't have to be in victim mentality to do it. It's like, look, I'm going to be a bit of a brat and I'm going to have my gummy bears for dinner. That's what I'm going to do, right? Like that's what I'm going to do. But
Or you could say, I'm feeling sorry for myself. I've worked my
That's
butt off
right.
today and I don't
Yeah.
want to cook no dinner.
that's
Yeah,
right.
you can be
Exactly.
honest about
And
your
I'm an adult and I can do it.
I feel sorry for myself. I'm gonna do what I want.
That's right. Yeah. But I victim mentality is such a huge it will just eat away at every part of someone's life. If
Mhm.
it's like a true victim mentality where they're just a victim of everything. And my son struggled this when he was younger. It was
Mhm.
very much like, but it came from a place of not understanding grace, like being gracious with himself.
Mhm.
And I was like, if you make a mistake, I guess mommy doesn't love you. He's like, what? And I'm like, exactly, right? That's dumb. And I'm like, so I
Ridiculous,
still
right.
love
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
And he's dealt with some perfectionism. I'm like, you're being perfect. It's unreasonable. And he was associating being perfect with being loved. And
Mhm.
so it would catapult him into victimhood because he was like, if I say something's not my fault, then I don't have to show that I made a mistake.
Right. And I'm
and
still
so, but
worthy of love.
right.
Yeah. It's
But I'm
deep.
like, you know what is great, sweetheart? I'm like, when you can have grace on yourself and others,
Yeah.
you realize how loved you really are. And this is what I always say to my kids. And I'm like, when you realize how shitty you are, I say
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
and then you realize how much you're still loved,
Mhm.
that's when you really know you're loved. When you're like, yeah, I've made some really crappy mistakes and I'm really crappy and I'm still loved.
I'm still
I'm like,
making those mistakes.
and I'm still making those mistakes and I'm going to mess up royally. When you realize how beautiful it is to make mistakes and still be
Mhm.
loved,
Yeah.
then you'll understand you don't need to play the victim. You can take ownership and say,
Mhm.
wow, like I'm loved in spite of myself. Like people love me. And when he understood that,
Mhm.
the ownership came.
Mhm.
It was like, okay, I can take ownership in things because I'm loved.
And what I love about that too is if you can give yourself grace, you'll give more people the people around you more
Yes.
grace. And when you don't give
Yes.
yourself grace, you'll be the judgiest, most critical,
Ooh.
most beat down. Like, you know, or you going to point out everybody's flaw.
Yes. Oh,
'Cause-
yeah.
'cause if
Yeah.
you hold yourself to the
Yeah.
high standards, you're holding everybody else to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you can be like, oh yeah, I messed that up, then you can be cool
Yeah.
if somebody else messed something up.
I know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I just feel, see, that seems like a simple thing to me. I don't want someone to treat me like that. I mess up. Like, I am not perfect. I am going to say the wrong thing, maybe even at the right time, but I'm going to do something that is going to hurt somebody because I am human. And it's never something that I'm directly trying to do, right? Like, we make mistakes all the time. We're on a journey, whatever word you want. We're in process. Like, I know that you are too. So I want the forgiveness. I'm going to give that to you. What is it? How are we not seeing, like, how do people not see this? Like, like that obviously I'm very passionate about this. Like, how do we not, it's just very simple for me to see it, like, how is there some level of safety that we need with the people of the world around us in order to see people in that way?
I mean, I don't know. I got my theories about it, but I just make them up. It's not like they're anything. I just make stuff up. But like even though I came from an addicted family, I don't have a single memory of any person ever saying anything critical to me. I really don't. I don't have that thing where I'm super critical of myself, like probably excessively. So I'm just like, oh yeah, I messed it up. Like whatever. Moving on or whatever. So I just don't have that so much for other people. But I think when you grow up in a house where your flaws are always pointed out or you feel criticized or whatever, it's just hardwired in, right? And you just get ingrained and you are harsh on yourself and you're harsh on the people around you and you're not forgiving of things. And like a learned thing.
Yeah. Using those words, I feel like are so important. Even with my kids, I'm like, guys, that was gross of me. I'm so sorry. What is wrong with me? I'm like, will you guys have some grace on me? Yes, Mom. We forgive you. We'll have some grace. I'm like, well, good, because I need it right now. And I'll tell you, using those words, verbalizing them has become part of their vocabulary.
So then you hear them doing that, like modeling it back to you. Right. It's like learned, right?
Yeah. It is. And what it does too, going back to what you do when they mess up and you have grace on them, they feel seen. They feel seen. And it goes back to them understanding I can mess up and still be seen. And I know that I'm still loved because she sees me. He sees me. And it goes back to exactly what you do.
Yeah. It's really
having grace.
It's really about that. When you can give that to someone else, they can give it to themselves. They can give it to the people around them. Yeah. I agree. I really do love that you're so like intentional about the modeling. I'm going to have to step up my modeling game. I'm going to have to step up my modeling game. Hey, I'm going to be saying that all the time.
My kids are like, they now could just write down everything that I'm saying. They're like, oh, Mom's talking about victims. You know where victims are? They're in prison. Prison's full of victims. Like my kids.
They're probably like, don't say that. You know, Mom's going to give you the thing.
When I drop them off, don't say that. Yeah. When I drop them off at camp, I'm like, they're like, appropriate. We know. I don't tell them be kind. I tell them be appropriate. Do dangerous things carefully. We know, So yeah, it is something that I think we do have to verbalize, but I have loved this conversation with you. I have to tell you, this is exactly how I thought it would go watching your videos.
Yes, same.
I mean, there's so many more things I would love to talk to you about, but I do feel like we're coming to this place where this feels nice to kind of wrap it up here. And obviously you don't have to answer this now, but Amber, would you come back and talk to us about any of the things that we talk about?
Of course. I feel like we got lots that we could talk about, right? Because
Amber, so we're just going to say it the next time. The next time you come, we would really like to talk to you about this epidemic. We're calling it an epidemic of the cutting off family members.
Oh my gosh, the no contact.
Let's do it.
No contact.
Let's do that.
Like,
can we do that with you and like have that be the focus? Because we would love to discuss that and what's going on there.
Yeah,
really,
please.
What you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Well,
I feel
good.
like we speak the same language, like.
I know.
Yes, I know. It's great. So what we like to do to wrap up the end of our episode, Amber, is to just to give the listeners a simply 1%, something that they can think of over the week or put into practice, just something small that puts them on the path to where they want to go and where they want to be. So I'm going to invite you to do that for our listeners today. Yeah.
I guess my main little 1% message would be, if there's someone in your life that you really need them to hear something from you, concentrate on hearing them first.
Thanks so much for spending time with us. We hope today's conversation gave you something to think about, something practical to try, or maybe just the reminder that you're not alone in what you're walking through. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to support the podcast, one of the best ways you can help is by following or subscribing wherever you listen. And if your podcast platform allows it, leaving a rating or a review really does help more people discover these conversations. If someone came to mind while you were listening, we'd love for you to share this episode with them. You never know how one conversation can make someone feel seen. Remember, you don't have to change everything today. Just focus on the next 1%. We'll see you next time.